I feel like doing this.
I got some water right here.
You were just saying, at least you're not a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus, finally.
It really is relatable. I know a lot about Jesus. Growing up, I always saw the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, right? And now I go to a Black Catholic church and Jesus is brown. Portray him as he probably likely was, since this was the Middle East, right? Most people don't know that. And he's also Jewish.
When a discussion about Jesus takes center stage, you know it's going to spark debate. But this time, The View took it to a whole new level, triggering outrage, controversy, and a massive online backlash. From divisive takes on his appearance to cherry-picking his teachings, the hosts left viewers stunned and questioning how far is too far. Hey, if you haven't subscribed my channel, hit the subscribe button for more interesting videos. Stick around as we break down this explosive segment, the heated reactions it ignited, and why so many are calling out The View for crossing the line. Trust me, you won't want to miss the twists and turns in this story. Let's dive in. When The View tackled a discussion about Jesus, it was bound to spark conversation. But this time, their approach didn't just cause a stir, it completely backfired. From comments that felt like race baiting to selective interpretations of biblical truths, the hosts left viewers shocked and asking, how far is too far? The debate began with a conversation about how Jesus is portrayed in modern media. Joy Behar started things off by quipping, "At least he's not a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus anymore." Her remark drew laughter from the panel but set the tone for what turned into a polarizing segment. Sunny Hostin then shared her personal experience of attending a Black Catholic church where Jesus is depicted as brown. She explained that, growing up, she had only ever seen a blonde, blue-eyed portrayal, but now sees him represented as he likely appeared. While her comment might seem innocent on the surface, many viewers saw it differently. To them, it felt like an attempt to inject racial politics into what should have been a spiritual discussion. One critic pointed out, Jesus isn't about race, he's about redemption. Why reduce his message to identity politics? Sunny's remarks about the brown Jesus quickly became a lightning rod for backlash, not because of the image itself, but because of how she framed it. For many, it seemed as though she was shifting the focus from Jesus' universal message of love and redemption to divisive issues. What do you think? Was this just a case of a misunderstood conversation, or did it truly cross the line? Let us know your thoughts.
I feel like I should bless myself. I feel like doing this.
I've got some water here.
He's got
I
some
can
water.
help the water if you want. I got some water right here.
You were just saying, at least you're not a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus, finally.
Yeah, I think we've gone a little more authentic to who Jesus might have actually been.
Jewish. You already did. Yeah,
Yes,
just the mere presence.
But Joy Behar didn't stop there. She steered the conversation into political territory, referencing a moment where Jesus is portrayed as advocating for marginalized communities.
Your obsession with what is clean and unclean goes farther than God intended and does no good for anybody but yourself.
We tithe everything so the poor can benefit, down to the smallest plants grown in our gardens.
And to that I say, woe to you Pharisees! You tithe mint and dill and cumin, measuring carefully the last speck while neglecting what is actually important of the law. Justice and mercy and faithfulness. You blind guides, straining out an act while swallowing a camel. Look at these people. What have you done to help them?
She declared, "That's the Jesus we admire." But here's where things got contentious. While it's true that Jesus showed compassion for the poor and marginalized, he also emphasized repentance, personal responsibility, and following God's will. To many viewers, Joy's portrayal felt less like an homage to his teachings and more like an effort to mold his message to suit a particular agenda.
The clip that we saw earlier, which shows Jesus speaking up for marginalized people, the poor, etc., which is the Jesus that we love. Not everyone interprets that message the same way these days. Religion in this country even seems weaponized at times. Does that frustrate you at all?
You know, they were taking great pains to follow the law at the expense of the followers. And there was injustice in that.
The conversation then shifted to Jesus' physical appearance, with one host remarking that many people don't realize Israel is in the Middle East. This comment sparked a wave of backlash online, as viewers pointed out that anyone familiar with the Bible, or a basic map, knows this. However, what stood out most was the panel's casual approach to discussing Jesus' appearance, which some felt bordered on objectification. One critic summed it up perfectly. Jesus isn't defined by how he looked. He's defined by his sacrifice and his teachings. So why did this segment spark such outrage? For one, it touched a nerve with those who feel their faith is frequently misrepresented in the media. But even more, it underscored a growing frustration with how The View handles discussions on spirituality and religion, often in ways that many believe oversimplify or distort deeply meaningful topics.
You play Jesus.
You?
I'm Catholic. You gotta watch this show about Jesus. I was like, I know a lot about Jesus.
I think there's always more to learn.
There's always more to learn, and what you're so profound. I think what was fascinating to me is growing up, I always saw the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus,
Yeah.
right? And now I go to a Black Catholic church, and Jesus is brown.
Yeah.
And I think it seems that you took such great pains to do that in this and to portray him as he probably likely was, since this was the Middle East, right? Most people don't know that. And he's also Jewish. Your cast is extremely diverse. Was that important to you and to your director, Dallas Jenkins, when this was coming together? Was that intentional?
Instead of fostering constructive dialogue or building understanding, the hosts on The View often resort to inflammatory rhetoric that serves to alienate large portions of their audience. What unfolded during this segment wasn't just a single isolated conversation. Rather, it's indicative of a larger and ongoing trend. It underscores how easily discussions that are meant to bring people together, like those about faith, can be co-opted and manipulated into political or ideological battlegrounds. In the process, the core message gets lost, turning what should be a discussion of love, unity, and shared values into a divisive argument. The teachings of Jesus, regardless of one's religious or cultural background, were never about creating rifts between people based on race, class, or any other form of division. His message centered around inclusivity, love, forgiveness, and truth, principles that transcend all human-made boundaries. The call was to love thy neighbor as yourself, to show compassion to the least among us, and to foster reconciliation instead of division. These are timeless, universal values that speak to the essence of humanity. They are principles that we should all strive to embody, regardless of where we come from or what we believe. Yet, when conversations about faith and spirituality are hijacked by political agendas, it often results in a loss of this deeper message. The focus shifts away from shared human values and becomes entangled in a battle of ideologies, furthering the divide between us instead of healing it. This isn't just about The View or any particular platform, it's a reflection of a wider societal issue, where discussions that should unite us often end up tearing us apart. So, what do you think? Did The View completely miss the mark with their comments about Jesus, turning a sacred topic into yet another ideological talking point? Or is this simply another example of their tendency to foster division, as they've done in the past? The important question is, should we allow these kinds of discussions to remain divisive, or should we redirect them back to what truly matters, the universal values of love, respect, and truth? We want to hear your thoughts. Please share them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay informed and be part of the conversation.